Being headhunted is actually a very nice feeling, especially when you didn't even expect it. About, I think 5 years ago, I was actually headhunted. I was top of the headhunters list, and they called me and asked me if I was interested in a role. And I said, of course, yes. And, you found me anyway, so it means I'm qualified. And that role was going to be an admin role. And they told me I'd still practice my communications that I was passionate about, and also marketing, digital marketing, which honestly I was. Okay, so I went into the role. I remember I didn't even know the JD. Actually, some companies, but they felt I was qualified. Later on, I found out that they found me qualified because of the skills I had in digital marketing, which was good. So I went into this role just to find out that I was an admin, and part of my role was kind of not things that I enjoyed doing very, very much. And honestly, I felt like the most pathetic administrator ever created. And I didn't last that. In about 2 years, I was able to leave. Last week, we were learning about some of the steps to become or to position yourself as a leader, especially as a communications expert. And then we learned the first step, which was self-awareness, trying to identify, some of the unique skills that you have and some of the unique skills that you have but you need to improve on. And I gave you some tasks to go there and find out who you are in terms of your skills and who you are in terms of your personal, professional, spiritual life. And some of the tasks also that I gave you is that to ask especially someone who is in charge of identifying, your career path, who is probably your boss, and some of the people in your life that who can give us the unique skills that you put out there. And I also told you that I have a free gift for you if you want to identify how to do this through a template. I attached a link so that you can do that. Today I want us to go into the next step. Once you're self-aware, the next step is called research. Research is a very important skill that we find out in almost all careers. And for a communications expert or to develop your career, research is very important. Thank you for joining. This is Career Insights by Eunice, where we help you to get into the top list of a headhunter. And remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that we might learn together. We might identify how to get ourselves into that top list of a headhunter, because that's a call that we all want at the end of the day. The next step into positioning yourself as a leader, especially for a communications expert, is research. I love research because research gives you all the insights that you need to know. Research is a very unique skill in career development, especially as a communications expert who has a goal of getting all these leadership roles that we are talking about. I'll go back to my story. I did not research at all what I was good at. I did not research at all what I wanted to be. A headhunter identified me through whatever platform that I put myself out there and gave me what they felt or what they thought that would be good for me, which was good at that point because I needed such an opportunity. However, for 2 years, I felt like I needed to work extra hard to fit into this role. How do you research? How do you make research work for you? Good. Remember, we had done the first step and we now know who we are. Okay, we've known who client is. Now we want to identify how do we position you using what you're good at. Using you that the boss has said you're very good strategies. The boss has said you're very good at capacity building, media relations, digital marketing. How do we position you with what you have currently to fit into a role that will make you even thrive better? Okay, not everyone can be a leader for a PR agency, for instance. You'd want to kind of know what entails a PR agency and what entails a JD. So the first thing, of course, you do with the data that you have, and of course with this data, especially if you're already practicing, some of the skills that is required for a communications expert. So this is not for someone who is already starting or who wants to know, should I take this course? So I'm talking to someone who at least understands what a communications practitioner, for instance, is supposed to become. You'll get for me, or you'll get for yourself, five, five JDs of such a position. So if it's a communication and knowledge management director, then you want to get 5 recent JDs. Okay, just go to my page on LinkedIn. You'll be able to get such opportunities, or anywhere else that you can find. So if it's Care International, you want to get a JD for Care International as a communication and knowledge management director. You want to go to the UN and find out. So you identify all those skills. Normally it's written on the JD. The job description should understand how to write, should have a list of media, what the JD entails. And then with all these JDs for the 5 roles in different organizations, you want to now kind of gauge yourself with the key unique skills that I have. Do I qualify for such a role? Okay, so for instance, if the role needs me to be a kind of a thought leader, and I've never written anything on, to become a thought leader in my industry. I've never done a video like the one I'm doing now. Then it means there's a gap there. So that's the first research you've done, and you've done a good job. You have to now start developing thought leadership content. Find a way to speak somewhere so that you're a thought leader in your industry. Number 2, if the job maybe requires you to have at least experience in outside Kenya, no, you're just not working in Kenya, and you do not have, it means then you have to find a way of connecting yourself outside the country, finding how to work in Uganda, in Tanzania, in the US, so that you have some better scope. Okay, so before we complete this video, I'll give you the 4 key unique skills that you must put in your CV. But for now, let's continue. Yeah, so you want to find out what don't I have, okay, and make now that your plan to kind of ensure that you have total leadership, ensure that you have developed a communication strategy, ensure that you tick all the boxes that is needed that is needed in your next role, okay? And that will go to step 3, where we learn something else on how to do this and how this is important, and how your current job is very, very important in leading you to your next leadership role. Very important. I think I even had to put my hands here, because sometimes we confuse our current roles. Some people say it's a toxic work culture. I've said that a million times. My boss is young or whatever. We have all these challenges in our current workplaces that is making us want to leave. But honestly, your current workplace is a key to your next workplace, especially if you want to land a leadership role. So take it very, very seriously. Good. So once you get this feedback, I've said you now plan. You plan on how now to kind of get yourself into having such experience, such that you can show it on your CV. Because I never like to lie on the CV if I don't have, experience on, developing thought leadership content. It can be a very crazy situation when I'm sharing that, and then I go for an interview and I'm so clueless. So good. So once you identify some of the gaps that you have, or sometimes you'll find out that actually IJD speaks to you. It's something you've done, it's something you can do with your eyes closed, which is very good. Then it's time for you also to identify the key terms. Okay, for instance, if you are doing media training, and you're applying for a role in an NGO, then that can be called capacity building. You have to identify now what they mean by capacity building. Yeah, for instance, if you've been managing a few people at your workplace, then it can fall under, leadership and management. Also, if you've been given a budget, it can fall under financial acumen. You have to identify the key terms and how to use them depending on the sector that you're working in. So remember, corporate organizations, some of the key terms we use there is very different from development communication, that's NGO, which is very different again from working for a firm or a PR firm, a private firm, which is different again for government. So identifying key terms and how to use them is very, very important. Also, just to go back a little, once you identify on your self-awareness that you're more aligned to creating impact, you want to work for an organization that creates impact as well. But I know now most organizations also want to kind of intertwine that together. Or if you want to work in an organization that is more of profit, we want to narrate our bottom line, we want to have the best bottom line, then it's very different. It means you're more of corporate, and both are okay. Sometimes clients usually wonder, is it wrong that I want to help clients make a lot of money, or is it wrong that I want to make clients just to make the world a better place? I don't care. It's usually okay. There are many organizations that can help you, just to thrive where you thrive. Okay, for me, impact is very, very important for me, but also money is very, very important. So that's why you find me thriving in both corporate organizations and also the NGO sector. So it means you can also be all. Some people even also thrive in government, which is good. Okay, you want to change policies, and to ensure that wananchi are happy, then that's fine. So remember to also align yourself. On our next steps next week, we learn about adaptability being a key step in positioning yourself to a leadership role. But for now, ensure that you don't outlook the value of a thorough research. Remember, if you don't research, then you don't know the solutions that you're giving. We don't know where you're coming from. Okay, and if you don't research, you'll end up like Eunice, who took a role because someone called and said there's a role there. Remember also, don't just be solving short term. That's why sometimes I'm very happy that you're already working somewhere. It means your financial needs or whatever needs are catered for, such that you'll have time to know who you are, to do a thorough research of the organization that you'll thrive in, and help a headhunter also to find you, because they want you to last where you are and go up to the leadership role. Because also, as we learn later on, you'll find out that sometimes if you're already a leader, then it's easy for you to get you a leadership role. But if you're just joining, can be very, very hard. Last week also we learned about, I told you that I'm doing something called a case study to try to test these 8 key steps that I'm telling you for leadership. And we created a character called Sylvia. I'll give you I'll give you the full profile of her at the end of the 8 weeks, so that we identify what we did right, what we didn't do so right, and some of the things you need to input for you to land yourself such opportunities. And till then, ensure that you follow us on social media, especially on LinkedIn, because we put a lot of opportunities there. And also remember to also follow this page. So I'm sorry about that, guys. So remember to follow us on LinkedIn. Follow the Eunice Victoria page on LinkedIn, so that you get some of those insights daily, and also opportunities that you can apply for. And also on our pages, different pages on social media. But most importantly, subscribe to this page, subscribe to this YouTube channel, so that you get more first-hand insights to landing yourself a leadership role. Thank you for watching. This is Career Insights by Eunice, where we help you get into the top list of a headhunter. And just before we finish, I have a verse for you today that relates to research. And I love this verse here. That's Proverbs chapter 19, verse 2. And I love what it says. It says, desire. Yes, you want to go into that leadership role, but desire without knowledge is not good. And that's what the Bible is saying. Desire without knowledge is not good. And whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. So the Bible agrees with me that research is very, very important. You cannot make this stuff up. Thank you for watching. Have a good day, and see you next week.